It is the early hours of March 8, 2026. The explicit threat issued from the White House, a promise to entirely eradicate Iran overnight, has expired. The deadline passed without the promised victory. Instead of a single devastating blow, the combined strikes from the United States and Israel inflicted only limited conventional damage. Rail lines were torn up and select airports were hit, but the nation's core power grid and physical infrastructure remain completely intact. On the ground, the civilian response was immediate. Ordinary citizens mobilized by the thousands, forming human chains around power plants and effectively daring the coalition to strike massive, unarmed crowds. Rather than surrendering, Iranian forces fired back. They launched retaliatory missile strikes, zeroing in on Israel's highly sensitive Negev area, directing munitions toward the Dimona nuclear research facility. Meanwhile, external attempts to spark a domestic collapse fell flat. Broadcasts from US-based opposition figures urging the Iranian military to overthrow the government have been universally ignored by the public. By failing to secure a rapid win, the coalition has backed itself into a corner. The United States and Israel are now locked in a volatile standoff against a fully mobilized military that survived the opening salvo. This map shows Iran's strategy: dismantle the regional economy if they fall. Tehran issued an 11 p.m. ultimatum to evacuate key transit routes: the Riyadh-Jeddah Road, Bahrain's King Fahd Causeway, and Abu Dhabi's Sheikh Zayed Bridge. The ultimate failsafe is economic. Iran has broadcast a clear warning: if a single Iranian power plant is hit, their missiles will target Saudi Aramco's facilities and the UAE's Fujairah pipeline. This strategy effectively neutralizes conventional American military superiority. By turning the critical infrastructure of U.S. allies into potential targets, Iran is leveraging the regional oil supply as a human shield. The threat alone has triggered immediate panic. Emergency warnings blared in Doha, Qatar, followed minutes later by verified explosions within the capital. Neighboring governments scrambled to secure their populations. Kuwait's Ministry of the Interior issued urgent alerts, ordering a strict nationwide 6 p.m. civilian curfew to clear the streets. The blowback was even more violent in Iraq. Enraged local mobs turned on the outposts of nations backing the coalition, physically attacking the Kuwaiti and UAE embassies and breaching the perimeter walls. Without firing a single shot at these nations, Iran's deterrence tactic worked. The mere anticipation of retaliation has created intense internal instability across the Arab world. As the regional situation deteriorates, the international mechanisms designed to stop this escalation have completely stalled. Bahrain brought a resolution to the Security Council to authorize military intervention, but it died instantly. China and Russia exercised their veto power, stripping the UN of any authority to act. Desperate for a ceasefire, Pakistan's Shahbaz Sharif opened a back channel, lobbying the White House to grant a 2-week extension to the military deadline to buy time for negotiations. The mediation was rejected. Iran flatly refused to negotiate, ending the discussion with a warning that their military is still holding an active stockpile of 15,000 missiles and 45,000 drones. With the UN gridlocked and the primary target refusing to engage, every institutional off-ramp for de-escalation has been closed. The consequences of the stalled military campaign have spilled directly into Washington. A political mutiny is brewing within Congress. 24 members have publicly broken ranks, backing measures to either draft articles of impeachment or invoke the 25th Amendment to strip the president of his authority. This revolt centers on the president's public vow to finish Iran in a single night, a promise of total eradication that many in Washington believe necessitates an immediate transfer of power. An isolated military strike failed to destroy a nation. Instead, it ignited a chain reaction that paralyzed the UN, destabilized the Middle East, and left the American government fractured.